What up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reacting to Bakugo versus Reze's death battle. It's been a long time awaiting. We're here. So before we jump right into the reaction, guys, remember to hit the like button down below. It'll be greatly appreciated if you do. And to subscribe. Like I said, we're currently at 84 subscribers. We're trying to hit 100. We are 16 away. If you guys will do me the favor and hit the subscribe button and help be a part of those 100 subscribers, it'll be greatly appreciated. As well as hit the like button, again, like I said before, so that my videos get pushed into the algorithm more and more. And also, watch a lot of the video, because watch time is important. But yeah, let's jump right in. So, we're going to start reacting.
Well, look who's here.
Interesting. I can already tell, like, that the animation is fucking fantastic.
The god of explosions versus the bomb devil.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a
Death battle! You always gotta do that, bro.
Wiz, there's nothing like the smell of napalm in the morning. The rush of the shockwave, the flash of combustion. I love it when stuff goes boom.
And no
It
one knows
is cool.
feeling better than Katsuki Bakugo.
When your name literally means powerful bomb, it's no wonder he was born with the quirk, explosion. It lets Bakugo create humongous kabooms from his palms. I can only dream of having hands that rad.
Quirks are genetic superpowers that most humans are born with.
Yeah.
Bakugo and
Well, to be fair, I'm sure Bakugo's quirk would be ridiculously broken. Here's a nice picture of his parents. The dad, I guess, was in a suited up. I think that's the dad because he's wearing glasses as well as crying. But I don't think his parents ever realized how much of a menace Bakugo would be.
inherited his quirk from his parents. Specifically, it was a combination of his father's combustible acid sweat and his mother's glycerin skin secretions.
Making Bakugo sweat basically like nitroglycerin. And the more he sweats, the bigger the booms. His parents basically made the perfect kid, absolutely oozing with
By
shocking
accident,
main
by the way.
character
I don't think they did
Bakugo
it
felt
intentionally.
similarly. So much so that he started bullying his childhood friend who happened to be born without a quirk.
Yeah.
Okay, he's kind of a snot-nosed turd sometimes,
He's kind of a dick.
But come on, Wiz! The kabooms!
It's cool, but Bakugo, early
So
Bakugo
cool.
was a piece of
Quirks
shit.
are a natural
And I think he would say
biological
that
feature
about
of a
himself
person's
too.
body. In the same way that we don't really think about walking or breathing, Bakugo's explosions became like any other limb, especially with his rigorous training.
Bakugo quickly picked up on how to use his explosions to obliterate anything in sight, block attacks, launch himself around, and quickly maneuver in midair at hypersonic speeds.
Yeah, that's a
which
broken
requires a
quirk.
ton of focus and on-the-fly calculations.
And despite getting this incredibly dangerous quirk when he was 4, he somehow never killed himself or anyone else
Which is-
that we know of. Bakugo was
Again, that is the greatest thing about Bakugo, is that he was such a fucking dick, but he still never went as far as hurting anybody besides Deku and killing anybody. Which is surprising, because considering how angry he was, yeah. I'm surprised he didn't blow someone up.
truly a prodigy, destined for greatness.
And his only goal was to surpass Japan's numero uno superhero and his personal idol, All Might. In Bakugo's mind, the only person who wins no matter what. Absolute victory. No problem for the main character.
Except Katsuki wasn't the protagonist that he thought he was. That would be Izuku Midoriya, the quirkless child Bakugo bullied. In truth, he was threatened by Izuku's tenacity despite being quirkless.
Really? That crybaby's the main character? Well, Bakugo's inferiority complex would only get worse when
Yep.
Deku somehow landed a quirk that was just as cool, and both were accepted to the same superhero high school, UA High.
There, he would learn to be
It gets worse because Deku copied Bakugo and how he moves and stuff, which made things
a
way worse between the
superhero
two of
and
them.
fully develop his ultimate moves.
Like flying through the sky faster than sound with turbo speed, blinding people with stun grenade, focusing his blasts into armor-piercing shots, or making a big-ass tornado of death.
The howitzer impact involves Bakugo spinning himself in midair with his explosions, building up a tremendous amount of swirling oxygen, and then igniting it all for one hell of a boom.
He's pretty smart when it comes to strategizing mid-fight.
Yep.
He even developed new techniques for his quirk faster than Deku did.
UA High also aided Bakugo's development by preparing him with his iconic Grenadier bracers. gauntlets that allow him to store up his sweat, gross, for prolonged bouts, or to release all of it at once in a single massive blast.
He's also got his hero suit, which helps him sweat faster in order to build up stronger attacks. Or the Strafe Panzer, these badass turrets mounted to his back that store his sweat as ammo. With all of that, it wasn't long before Bakugo made his hero debut, called the Bombshell Hero, Great Explosion Murder God, Dynamite. Hey,
that's the real
more
name,
colons
Dynamite.
the merrier.
But despite some early wins, Bakugo failed to live up to his own sky-high expectations. He had the makings of a great hero.
You did?
If only he could get out of his own way and put the team before his ego.
Especially when he was kidnapped by the League of Villains, ultimately leading Bakugo to blame himself for All Might's retirement. Something needed to change.
So he vented his frustrations in a slugfest with Deku and realized something crucial. That the kind of absolute victory that defined All Might wasn't victory for himself, but victory for everyone.
He was starting to become the prodigy everyone knew he could be. I mean, hell, even while he was unconscious, he kept analyzing the fight he was in and coming up with counters. Somehow,
Bakugo's powerful enough to shatter Todoroki's heaven-piercing ice wall.
Yeah, that's
Fast enough to
impressive,
keep up
by the
with
way.
Villains like Shigaraki, who can catch light beams, and tough enough to survive, well,
being dead? Yep, you heard us.
Nah, kind of.
Bakugo was killed, dead as a doornail. And then a single bead of sweat floating through his bloodstream detonated and restarted his heart. If that isn't main character plot armor, I don't know what is.
That was
his stamina
that was impressive.
is perhaps the craziest thing about him. After all, he is tanking the recoil of all of his explosions.
Yeah,
Even
because
with
his
the
body is
overuse
tough.
of his blasts literally tearing his body apart, he kept trying to make him stronger, and eventually his quirk awakened.
Essentially, when a quirk evolves to become stronger. Now, by condensing his explosions into smaller and more powerful clusters, Bakugo could enhance all of his techniques.
Like the Howitzer Impact Cluster, a stunning achievement in the field of explosionology, or kaboom theory for the layman.
Powerful enough to shatter
Kaboom
the
theory,
side
I
of a
like that.
mountain, or blow apart Yue Hai itself. Judging by the school's size,
Yeah,
we can
Bakugo
estimate
became a
Bakugo's
literal
Howitzer
fucking
Impact Cluster
nuke,
yielded over
later on.
300 kilotons of TNT.
Given Bakugo's whole deal is explosions, it makes sense to science out what a ton of TNT actually is. It's
Yep.
literally the energy contained in 1,000 kilograms of trinitrotoluene.
A chemical compound composed of hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon.
Yep.
That's the recipe for kabooms. Now, imagine a pile of TNT as big as the Empire State Building blowing up all at once. That's Bakugo's Howitzer Impact Cluster.
That's
And
that's
these
broken.
explosions can launch him so fast,
That's
it's
a
like
nuke.
time stands still around him.
Like when he covered a huge part of this city in a fraction of a second, almost 400 times the speed of sound.
And that's not all. Now he can detonate his sweat remotely and from all over his body, not just his palms.
With
Which
all
makes
of
him
this
even more
crazy
broken.
Bullshit, Bakugo became one of the strongest heroes on Earth, enough to battle and defeat All Might's lifelong arch nemesis, All for One. Yeah, that's
Yep.
right, the main villain. Who's the protagonist now, Deku?
Bakugo
Well,
literally
to be fair, which All for One was on a time limit, and All Might basically weakened him quite a bit. Bakugo came and finished him off, but most of the work was done by All Might.
and figuratively surpassed his childhood idol and proved his mettle as a hero.
Number 5 on the rankings and rising. Not bad, Kachan.
But more
Number
importantly
5,
than proving
but
it to his
still
friends,
causing
to All Might,
shit.
or even to Deku, he proved it to himself.
Yeah, whatever. Take that, losers! Sickest quirk in the world over here! Dynamite! Dynamite! Dynamite!
His quirk is sick. I would love to have that quirk.
Wiz, what happened to you? You look funny and squishy.
I'm over here, Boomstick.
All right,
Death, war.
all right. Let's see what Reze
famine,
got.
Conquest. Humanity has been plagued by all manner of ills since they first crawled out of the primordial ooze. In the world of Chainsaw Man, there is nothing to fear but fear itself.
Because fear itself is real, and they're called devils.
Literally devils from hell. These monstrous beings are the living embodiments of humanity's worst nightmares, and their power is directly proportional to that fear.
So the chicken devil might be so weak you could keep him as a class pet, like, you know, a chicken. But what about the bat devil, or the ghost devil, or the devil embodying man's fears of one of the greatest weapons it's ever created, the bomb devil?
Little is known about the origins of the Bomb Devil's current host.
Basically, Reze is as strong as how many people fear her. So if no one fears her, and like Bakugo could technically beat her if he makes no one be afraid of her explosions, or be afraid of explosions instead like them, because he's a hero or something. I don't know.
If that even
That'd be one
is
way.
her real name.
She might look cute and kawaii, but she's actually a Soviet assassin trained from birth to be one of the deadliest killers on the planet. Basically a Black Widow. A cold and lonely existence for anyone, but quadruply so in a world as effed up as this.
But all Reze wanted was a safe, normal, quiet life. As much a fable to her as Aesop's country mouse.
Too bad! You are now a walking, talking explosive. Have fun.
At some point, the girl known as Reze was implanted with a fragment of the Bomb Devil and became a hybrid, a human possessing a devil's powers without sacrificing their humanity, transforming their body into a living weapon.
As a hybrid, Reze's strength and speed are way crazier than a normal human's, and with her martial arts training, she's a force to be reckoned with up close. Also, Wiz, check out the bomb for a head!
Someone like Reze would eat you alive,
Yep.
literally.
She's
Should
terrifying.
devils like Reze take any damage whatsoever, they can heal by consuming blood.
And that lets hybrids survive some pretty insane stuff, like having their limbs torn off, getting bisected clean in half, or being roasted alive. Just slurp some blood and they're good as new.
Especially useful considering the Bomb Devil's primary ability is literally blowing herself up. Reze can emit explosions from any surface of her body, even tearing off limbs and turning them into bombs that she can detonate at will.
Damn, that's hardcore. She can use these blasts to
Which is
jet
crazy.
through the sky at hypersonic speeds, maneuver and redirect herself in midair, and enhance the strength and speed of her blows.
Or
Similar
Reze
to
can send
Bakugo
sparks that
in that
can
sense.
ignite the atmosphere in explosions that tear apart entire cities. Making herself stronger the more fear her wanton destruction creates.
As long as the area around her is dry enough to maintain ignition, Reze can create as many explosions as she wants, non-stop.
So
She
water
can even
makes
turn her own
her
body
weak.
into different types of real-world bombs to massively enhance their power.
Like transforming her leg into a torpedo, or her apron into dynamite. Every single inch of Reze is a living weapon.
This made her feared across the devil world as one of their mightiest warriors, and the perfect choice to assassinate Japan's newly acquired devil hybrid, Chainsaw Man.
You see, you might not think chainsaws are all that scary, at least not compared to bombs, but the Chainsaw Devil is special.
Yep.
Any devil the Chainsaw Devil consumes becomes deleted from reality.
That's what. So the devils are
Retroactively
afraid of the
erased
Chainsaw
from
Devil.
humanity's collective consciousness.
And here I thought chainsaws were for boring stuff like trees or Texas massacres. Silly me.
This ability makes the Chainsaw Devil the most important being alive and invaluable for any global power to control.
Except instead of meeting the fearsome chainsaw of legend, Reze met Denji, a dumb, horny teenage boy just looking for anyone, to love.
And for once, Reze actually hesitated. Rather than immediately kill her target, she got to know him and found they weren't so different. Both were used as tools of the state, as weapons of war rather than people. A kindred spirit in a hostile world, Denji wanted to drink up as much of the excitement of life as he could. The town mouse to her country mouse.
And thankfully, he was super easy for a pretty face to manipulate.
It wouldn't be the only time.
Reze's nothing if not professional, and she gave Denji one parting gift. To teach him the way devils did battle before he died.
As the embodiment of one of the deadliest weapons known to man, Reze's power is off the charts, capable of creating an explosion more than 400 meters in diameter. That's over four football fields long.
To have a blast that size, you'd need to be exploding with over 2 kilotons of TNT.
Quite a bit of
More
kilotons
than
of
comparable
TNT.
to nuclear weapons, which is really impressive considering Reze is not the devil of nuclear bombs. That's apparently an entirely separate thing.
Despite her bombs being technically conventional, they're just that strong.
Likely comparable to other powerful devils like the Gun Devil, who could travel across the world and kill millions of people in 5 minutes.
That'd be over 500 times the speed of sound.
That's
She's
crazy.
even
I didn't.
stronger
The
than
Gun Devil's
Typhoon
broken.
Devil, a sentient city-spanning storm.
The literal coughing baby to her hydrogen bomb.
Unfortunately for Reze, Denji took her lessons to heart and proved he was more than a fitting host for the Chainsaw Devil.
He whooped her ass, but spared her life. Just in case her seduction wasn't a total act after all.
But it wasn't meant to be. Whether Reze chose the safe life of the country mouse or the exciting life of the town mouse, There are hungry cats everywhere.
Oh, Makima, what I would give
Yeah, I
to let
hate that
someone
bitch.
to kill you.
Reze's dreams of freedom were never realized. She simply changed hands from one cold, unfeeling entity to another. And this time, there was no escape. She was a weapon, a symbol of man's bottomless capacity for malice and self-destruction.
A living bomb.
Makima being the control devil means she's the most broken. But God, I hate what she did to Denji, bro. Like Makima always would fuck over Denji, bro. And she did that because she wanted to get rid of any like loose ends, and two, she didn't want Denji to feel anything. Like she wanted Denji to be still be manipulated. So she got rid of something that she knew Denji cared about. It's fucked up.
The battle's
fucked
about
up.
to start, and I hope you've got something good to hear
kinda
these
sad, too.
kabooms with, like our sponsor, Raycon.
That's right, Boomstick. I've been using Raycon for many years now, and they've got everything I need in good earbuds.
And with Mother's
Okay,
/Death Battle Open.
here we go.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time
I'm for
a
a death battle. There we go. You gotta do it. You gotta do it every single time. Okay. Oh, the music is always a bop. Always a bop. All right, we got it. The music is always a bop. Always.
Better villains than you have tried, lady. You tell your bosses that after I send you back in a coffin!
How would I tell them that if I was already dead? Wow, you're quick.
Shut up and die!
Bakugo is pretty fucking fast. That's a sick inclusion to his abilities of like creating mini bomb cannons on him.
Oh, damn! Oh, damn!
Yeah, no, Reze is insane.
Oh, it's on!
Yeah, Bakugo doesn't have that weakness to water, considering his comes from sweat. And as long as the sweat is there, he can ignite it.
Lose it, people!
Save me, Dynamite!
Let go of me!
That transition was sick. I'm not gonna lie. Really fucking dope transition. From 2D to 3D. That's how you use that shit. Take notes, studios. There you go. That's another sick transition, dude. Damn, bro.
For what it's worth, Dynamite, your blood was delicious.
Yep, he can jumpstart his own fucking heart.
My blood isn't the only thing you drank. It's my sweat you should worry about, dumbass!
Yep.
I'm aiming for absolute victory! Howitzer!
Impact!
Cluster!
His strongest move. Beautiful, beautiful.
Scratch that. Not enough for a coffin.
That's sick. He did the all my pose.
Denji,
My boy.
I'm so sorry to hear about your girlfriend that passed away. She gets 5 big booms. Boom! Boom!
Please just shut up. On the surface, these two seemed evenly matched.
Not
so
really.
Let's break this fight down into 3 categories: their speed, their stamina, and their firepower.
First off, Bakugo takes speed. There's that. And firepower, that might be the closest firepower and stamina might be pretty close though.
First up,
Let's see what they
let's
say.
talk speed.
Both Bakugo and Reze could rocket through the sky at hypersonic speeds and maneuver and redirect themselves on a dime in the middle of fights. To the casual observer, at least, they'd seem to be on par with each other.
So we have to look at the people they've fought to compare.
Reze has battled Chainsaw Man, who could match and defeat someone using the Gun Devil's power.
The same gun devil that could literally fly around the world, killing millions of people at over 500 times the speed of sound.
Which is crazy.
Impressive, but compare that to Bakugo fighting Shigaraki, who could react
way
fast
faster,
enough to
by
catch
the way.
light beams with his bare hands.
Yep.
That's over 1,000 times faster. And that was before Bakugo's quirk awakening that made him even faster than that.
With reaction speed of that caliber, there's little chance Reze could ever get the drop on Bakugo, and would likely be forced to play catch-up in a duel. Speed goes to Bakugo.
Yep, I knew
However,
that.
speed doesn't matter if one couldn't truly hurt the other.
Yep.
A big part of this fight is their stamina.
Bakugo's durability is mind-boggling. He's survived being impaled through the torso and has even brought himself back to life.
But unlike Reze, his stamina does eventually hit a limit. Every explosion he makes whittles him down just a little bit more
Yep.
and uses up more and more of his sweat. Without a break, he can eventually run out.
Whereas Reze can effectively create bombs without respite and from a distance.
Unlike Bakugo, who usually likes to get up close and personal.
Furthermore, her devil hybrid physiology gives her an actual regenerative healing factor, allowing her to shrug off the same kind of mortal blows that would eventually kill
Yeah.
Bakugo, main character plot armor or not.
If this ever became a war of attrition,
Okay.
Reze had it in the bag. Stamina.
That made
goes
sense
to
because she's a
Reze.
devil,
However,
right?
it's unlikely it would ever get to that point. The biggest factor in this fight was always
Firepower.
going to be their raw firepower.
Which I think Bakugo has more.
Explosions! First, we gotta compare their two biggest blasts. Reze's nuclear light bomb against Denji versus Bakugo's howitzer impact cluster.
And the difference is obvious. Based on calculating their sizes, Bakugo's 300 kiloton explosion was over 100 times more powerful than
Yeah,
Reze's
his was
2 kiloton
basically
blast.
like
But that's
a
not all.
fucking nuke.
Remember the Typhoon Devil?
Coughing baby or not, to create a storm big enough to cover Tokyo's over 2,000 square kilometers, he'd have to be generating more than 400 kilotons of TNT.
Greater than Bakugo, right? But that's not all. Again, Bakugo's howitzer impact once shattered the size of this big-ass mountain. And despite being earlier on in the series, it was ginormous. Almost 3 kilometers in radius.
Or just over 2 megatons of TNT. 5 times more powerful than the Typhoon Devil, and way beyond anything we've seen Reze do.
And this was Bakugo before reaching his full power.
Yeah,
in his fight
Bakugo's
against
broken,
All
bro.
For
His
One.
his
Bakugo
powers are
takes the
sick.
final edge in explosions.
And remember, Bakugo
2
withstands
to 1,
the
yep.
recoil of all his blasts.
Yeah.
So even though Reze had greater stamina, Bakugo was more than tough enough to hang on and get his kill shot, especially with his superior speed.
And devil healing factors can be overtaxed with enough damage. Hell, she needed to drink blood a couple times against Denji just to keep fighting.
Against someone as fast and powerful as
Yeah,
Bakugo,
the Chainsaw Devil
she
is
would not
insane.
get the chance to heal consistently, or perhaps at all.
Alright.
And what happens when devils die?
Bakugo, I kind of knew Bakugo
to
was gonna
hell.
take it just because of the final
winner
season
is
alone.
Katsuki Bakugo.
Bombshell, hero, great explosion,
Asian Murder God Dynamite. There you go.
Next time on.
All right, who's
Death
next?
Battle.
What's the next fight? Okay. Gru? Okay. And Megamind. Okay, that's gonna be a hella interesting fight. Gru versus Megamind? That's gonna be interesting and funny as fuck.
Subscribe and
I
join
wanna
as
watch
a
that.
member to see more Death Battle. And don't forget to order.
So that was awesome. I basically knew that Bakugo was gonna win. It was kind of obvious. You know what I mean? At least to me, because Bakugo's fucking broken. I liked Reze, but I feel like Reze was way too confined in terms of like her firepower. I knew that going in. So Bakugo winning is not much of a surprise for me. If you guys disagree, let me know down below in the comments why you personally disagree. I thought it was pretty well explained by them. I thought they did a good job. I don't think this was this was not as one-sided because it could go like both ways. For example, if Reze could have made the fight go longer to the point where Bakugo strained his quirk, she probably would have won. But that's not what happened here. Bakugo was good enough to take the dub here. It was a good fight. I'm excited versus Gru versus Megamind. Let me know down below what you guys think about that fight. Does Gru versus Megamind interest you? I think it's gonna be a funny comedy fight. I think it's gonna be hilarious. It's similar vibes to Bowser versus Eggman. So there's that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you guys want more death battle reactions, there's gonna be a little tag either at the beginning of the video or at the beginning of the video with the whole playlist of my reactions. Or you guys can just check out my channel after subscribing, of course, and find that playlist with my death battle reactions. There's quite a bit. So yeah, thank you, and adios.